August 21st, 1942. Guadalcanal, Solomon Islands. 3:17 a.m. The jungle is never silent here. Even at night, it breathes. Heavy wet air clings to the skin like a second uniform. Insects scream from the darkness. Somewhere beyond the palm trees, artillery thumps like a distant heartbeat. Us Marines crouch in shallow foxholes, fingers tight around rifle stocks, eyes scanning a wall of black jungle that looks back without blinking. You can almost feel the heat rising from the soil. You can almost feel the enemy watching. Private First Class Chester Nez kneels beside a field radio, sweat rolling down his neck, listening to bursts of static and fragmented English orders bleeding through the headphones. The signal is weak. Japanese units are moving somewhere in the darkness. American lines are shifting. The artillery needs coordinates now. And somewhere out there, Japanese intelligence officers are listening too. They always are. For months, Allied transmissions in the Pacific have been cracked with devastating precision. Marine patrols walk into ambushes. Naval formations are intercepted. Every message seems to arrive in enemy hands almost as fast as it reaches friendly units. The Japanese codebreakers are ghosts in the wire. Tonight that changes. Chester Nez leans closer to the transmitter and begins to speak not in English, not in any language the enemy has ever cataloged, but in the ancient rolling syllables of his people, Navajo. To any eavesdropper, it sounds like chaos. To the Marines, it is the voice of survival. Guadalcanal is already soaked in blood by the time the Navajo Code Talkers arrive. The island seized just weeks earlier in the first major U.S. offensive of the Pacific War has become a graveyard of jungle ambushes, malaria, starvation, and savage close-quarters combat. The Japanese are entrenched. They move like shadows. And worse than their rifles is their ability to hear everything. Every exposed transmission becomes a death sentence. Marine commanders begin to notice an impossible pattern. The enemy reacts too fast. Artillery hits evacuation routes before stretchers arrive. Reinforcements run straight into machine gun nests waiting for them. The Japanese aren't guessing, they're listening. Desperation forces innovation. And that innovation begins with a man who grew up hearing Navajo spoken around him, but never imagined it would become a weapon of war. His name is Philip Johnston. Johnston is not Navajo. He's the son of a missionary who grew up on a Navajo reservation in Arizona. He speaks the language fluently. He understands something the military has completely overlooked. Navajo is unwritten, tonal, and unknown to foreign linguists. No dictionary, no grammar book, no trained translators. And most importantly, no Japanese codebreaker has ever studied it. In early 1942, Johnston walks into a Marine Corps intelligence office with a radical proposal. Use Navajo as a battlefield code, not a cipher, not encryption, layered on top of English, living spoken shield. The idea sounds insane to traditional intelligence officers. Codes are made of algorithms and machines, not tribes and spoken language. But the Pacific is bleeding. The Marines are running out of time. Johnston is allowed one test, at Camp Elliott in California. 2 Navajo Marines step forward. They're given mock combat orders in English. Within seconds, the men transmit them in Navajo, then retranslate them back into English on the far end. Time taken, under 20 seconds. Standard machine encryption at the time takes over 30 minutes. The officers are stunned. The experiment doesn't just work, it revolutionizes battlefield communication. Within weeks, the first group of 29 Navajo Code Talkers is recruited and trained in total secrecy. Among them is Chester Nez, barely out of adolescence, carrying with him a language spoken long before radio waves ever existed. They aren't just translating. They are creating a battlefield language from scratch. Because Navajo has no words for tanks, battleships, or grenades. The Code Talkers invent metaphors. A fighter plane becomes a hummingbird. A bomber becomes a buzzard. Submarine becomes an iron fish. A grenade becomes a potato. Even if the Japanese somehow learned Navajo, they would still face another layer of symbolic code on top of it. It is impossible to crack in real time. And now, in the steaming hell of Guadalcanal, the system is about to be tested under fire. Back in the jungle, Chester Nez finishes his transmission. Coordinates spill from his lips in flowing Navajo syllables, grid references, unit movements, artillery timing. On the far end of the transmission, another Navajo Marine decodes the message instantly. American guns adjust. Rounds slam into the darkness where Japanese units were maneuvering moments earlier. The ambush never happens. For the first time since landing on the island, the Marines move faster than the enemy can predict. Japanese intelligence units record the transmission. They slow it down. They replay it. Linguists listen carefully. It makes no sense. There's no structure. No recognizable root words. No entry point. To them, it sounds like meaningless noise layered over chaos. To the Marines, it becomes the most lethal clarity they have ever known. And as dawn breaks over Guadalcanal, the Japanese patrols stumble into kill zones that were laid out hours earlier through messages they never understood. For the first time, the jungle lies to the enemy. But the Japanese are not fools. They know something has changed. Their field officers begin reporting a terrifying realization. American artillery is striking with impossible precision. Marine units are repositioning faster than intercepted signals suggest they should be able to. Tire attacks are being countered before they even begin. Somewhere in the radio traffic, the Allies have found a way to speak without being heard. And now, Japanese intelligence is hunting for the voice they cannot decode. As night falls over Guadalcanal once more, Chester Nez removes his headset and exhales slowly. He doesn't know it yet, but his language, once punished and suppressed back home, has just become one of the most powerful weapons in the Pacific War. And in the darkness beyond the palms, the enemy is finally afraid of what they cannot understand. August 28, 1942, Guadalcanal, Henderson Field vicinity. Marines move cautiously through the dense undergrowth, boots sinking into mud softened by relentless tropical rain. Every tree, every shadow is a potential ambush. Corporal Chester Nez sits cross-legged beside a field radio, his fingers brushing the dials with practiced precision. Around him, the jungle hums with life and menace. Monkeys scream from high branches, insects swarm in angry clouds. Somewhere ahead, Japanese infantry positions wait like coiled snakes, ready to strike. The order comes in English: artillery strike on Ridge 5s or 9. Advance Delta Company to Grid 432. Nez's voice carries across the radio, transformed into Navajo syllables. Each syllable precise, each phrase deliberate. On the receiving end, another Navajo Marine instantly decodes it, relaying the order to artillery units hidden in the tree line. Within minutes, shells crash exactly where they are needed. Japanese patrols are cut down before they can reach American lines. Japanese officers scramble. They replay captured transmissions, try to match words with known codes. They call in linguists. It is futile. Language is unwritten, tonal, and intentionally metaphorical. Even the most brilliant cryptographers cannot break it. Private First Class Leonard Begay notes, "It's like shouting into the wind. Nothing we do changes it. They move before we can react." This is the genius of the Navajo Code. It is both a native language and a dynamic battlefield code, continuously reinforced by military necessity. Each assignment, each transmission, it's a live exercise in encryption and coordination that Japanese intelligence has no hope of unraveling. Marines maneuver through the jungle, guided by real-time updates in Navajo. An isolated platoon under heavy fire calls for extraction. Nez transmits coordinates, timing, and instructions in his native tongue. Within 10 minutes, reinforcements arrive, units that would have been ambushed under normal communication protocols. The effect is immediate. Casualties drop. Operations succeed. Confidence surges. Guadalcanal, a battlefield of chaos and confusion, begins to feel like a controlled operation. Night falls. Japanese forces regroup and attempt counterattacks. Yet every assault is anticipated. Marines know where the enemy will strike because orders flow faster than any interception. The jungle seems to bend to the logic of the Navajo Code. Trails once fatal now become avenues of advantage. Lieutenant Samuel Sosi, another code talker, whispers into the headset, relaying artillery positions. They cannot understand. They cannot see. Every move is ours. It is a terrifying advantage, a war fought not only with rifles and bombs, but with language itself. Meanwhile, Japanese intelligence officers grow frantic. Messages intercepted hours ago now carry no meaning. They suspect sabotage, espionage, or supernatural forces. Panic spreads. Their reports note that American operations appear to anticipate attacks before they occur. leaving Japanese troops exposed and disoriented. The Code Talkers' real test lies ahead, coordinating multi-unit operations across the Pacific, from jungle skirmishes to naval engagements, while preserving the secrecy of a language the world has yet to touch. Chester Nez wipes sweat from his brow, listening as more orders flow seamlessly through the airwaves. Each successful transmission reinforces a profound truth. Navajo is more than a language, it is a shield, a weapon, a lifeline. Somewhere beyond the trees, Japanese soldiers whisper of strange, incomprehensible voices dictating their doom.
Ow.
They do not know that these voices are their enemy's greatest secret, a cultural ingenuity turning the tide of war in real time. For the Marines, Guadalcanal has become a battlefield where coordination meets chaos, order meets fire, and language becomes an invisible armor no enemy can pierce. September 3, 1942, Guadalcanal, Eastern Ridge. The jungle is alive with tension. Heat radiates from the wet earth, mingling with the acrid smoke of distant fires. Marines crawl through mud-choked trails, their rifles ready, ears straining for the smallest hint of movement. Somewhere ahead, Japanese forces are lying in wait, anticipating chaos. But the Marines are no longer moving blindly. Corporal Chester Nez adjusts his headset, fingers brushing the microphone. Orders flow through him in Navajo, crisp and deliberate. Each syllable carries precise coordinates, artillery timings, and movement instructions. On the far side of the ridge, artillery units respond instantly, shells finding their marks with deadly accuracy. The Japanese charge a feared and meticulously planned assault is cut down before it reaches the American line. Machine guns roar, grenades explode, and the jungle shakes with the weight of coordinated firepower. No longer are small skirmishes dictated by luck or fragmented intelligence. Every maneuver is synchronized across the battlefield. Platoons that would have been ambushed now move in perfect harmony. Artillery strikes hit precisely when needed. Reinforcements arrive on time. Supply convoys navigate treacherous paths without interception. Lieutenant Samuel Sosi, speaking rapidly over the radio, coordinates 2 forward units while guiding a third through a hidden jungle pass. "Move on, my mark," he says in Navajo. Each squad acknowledges instantly. No misunderstandings, no delay. Japanese intelligence is desperate. They replay captured messages, trying to identify patterns, words, grammar, code books. Nothing fits. The language is unfamiliar, untranslatable, and alive. They have never heard the rolling consonants and tonal shifts of Navajo, combined with military metaphors. Every effort to decode is wasted energy. Private Leonard Beggy smiles quietly. They can listen all they want. They still won't know what we're saying. The battle escalates. Japanese forces launch counterattacks on multiple fronts. Mortars rain down, snipers pick off exposed Marines, panic threatens to spread. But the Code Talkers maintain calm, transmitting precise orders with unwavering accuracy. Artillery falls exactly where it is needed. Troop movements synchronize across ridges and jungle paths. Chaos transforms into a symphony of controlled violence. Marines begin to realize that their survival and the success of the campaign depends not just on firepower, but on the voices of men speaking a language the enemy cannot touch. Chester Nez reflects, listening to a squad report successful flank maneuvering. His voice flows naturally over the radio, yet it is impenetrable to anyone else. A simple conversation becomes a lifeline, protecting troops, directing attacks, and confusing the enemy simultaneously. The jungle no longer simply hides the enemy, amplifies the code. Trees, mud, and smoke now act as carriers of an invisible force. An intelligence network fueled by culture, memory, and language. By mid-September, Guadalcanal's front lines are shifting. Japanese forces falter, coordination breaks down. They realize that the Americans are always one step ahead, not because of luck, but because of a secret weapon they cannot comprehend. For the Marines, the jungle has become a controlled battlefield. Every message transmitted in Navajo tightens the grip of strategy and precision. Every failed Japanese interception strengthens confidence. Every successful artillery strike reinforces the power of their unbreakable language. And somewhere in the shadows, The enemy whispers fearfully of voices that dictate their defeat without ever revealing themselves. October 5, 1942, Guadalcanal, Matanico River Sector. The jungle is drenched in dawn mist, each leaf shimmering with dew. Marines move cautiously along narrow trails, rifles at the ready. The roar of distant artillery punctuates the jungle's symphony of insects and birds. Somewhere ahead, Japanese forces are preparing an ambush, confident in their usual ability to anticipate American movements. But the rules of engagement have changed. Chester Nez sits at a portable radio, transmitting coordinates, troop movements, and artillery timings in Navajo. His voice is calm, measured, precise. To anyone listening without understanding, it is incomprehensible noise. To the Marines on the ground, it is lifeblood. A Japanese patrol attempts a sudden flank maneuver. Within seconds, artillery rains down precisely on their position. The ambush fails before it begins. Marines advance through previously deadly terrain with unprecedented safety. The impact on morale is profound. Lieutenant Samuel Sosi watches a squad cross an exposed clearing that would have previously been a death trap. They move swiftly, coordinated, confident. Soldiers begin to realize that their survival is directly linked to these transmissions, an invisible shield protecting them in the heart of enemy territory. Private Leonard Begay reflects quietly, "We don't just fire our weapons. The language itself is a weapon. Every syllable spoken is a strategic command. Every phrase a lifeline threading through the chaos of battle." Japanese intelligence grows frantic. Reports from captured signals indicate that American forces are anticipating attacks before they occur. Panic spreads among officers. Mistrust and confusion take root. They cannot decipher the Navajo, cannot anticipate the next move, and cannot predict where the Marines will strike next. Every interception is useless. Every listening post becomes a monument to frustration. Meanwhile, the Marines exploit this advantage ruthlessly. Artillery coordination becomes nearly perfect. Supply convoys move undetected. Reinforcements arrive exactly where needed. Small unit tactics are executed with near-flawless timing. Guadalcanal is no longer a chaotic battlefield. It's a carefully orchestrated operation where every unit acts in concert. The human cost is mitigated by this invisible shield. In previous battles, miscommunications and intercepted orders often led to casualties. Now, thanks to the Navajo Code Talkers, the margin for error shrinks dramatically. Lives are saved. Operations succeed. Confidence surges among Marines, who begin to trust not only their weapons, but also the code that guides them. Chester Nez transmits a series of critical orders during a night attack. The artillery hits targets with perfect timing. Marine squads outflank Japanese positions before the enemy can react. The code has become more than communication. It is a force multiplier, shaping the battlefield itself. By late October, Guadalcanal begins to tilt decisively in the Allies' favor. Japanese defenses crumble under coordinated attacks. Commanders note with disbelief that American forces seem to anticipate enemy maneuvers almost magically. No machine, no cipher, no brute force achieves this, only the ingenuity and courage of the Navajo Code Talkers. And through the dense jungle, amidst the mud, blood, and sweat, Chester Nez and his fellow Code Talkers continue to speak, ensuring that every Marine knows where to move, when to fire, and how to survive. For the Japanese, every day is a growing nightmare. Their most sophisticated intelligence efforts fail against a language they cannot touch, against a culture they cannot anticipate. For the Marines, every transmission secures another life, another victory, and another step toward eventual triumph in the Pacific. November 12, 1942, Guadalcanal, Henderson Field vicinity. The jungle hums quietly under a heavy canopy of green. Scarred by months of combat, smoke rises from abandoned Japanese positions. Marines, battle-worn and exhausted, patrol the cleared areas. Guadalcanal is far from safe, yet for the first time, the front lines feel secure. Corporal Chester Nez sits with his radio, fingers brushing the dials one last time before passing the device to a fellow Code Talker. He reflects on the months of relentless combat, ambushes foiled, artillery strikes coordinated, lives saved. Missions accomplished, all made possible by the code they carried in their voices. The Navajo language, once suppressed and ridiculed, has become a weapon of unparalleled power, a shield no enemy could pierce. Every Marine knows this. Every officer acknowledges it. Every Japanese soldier fears it. In debriefings, commanders record their amazement. Messages transmitted in real time, decoded instantly by friendly units, and completely incomprehensible to the enemy. This innovation has turned chaos into precision. Guadalcanal, once a potential disaster, is now a testament to cultural ingenuity and bravery. Lieutenant Samuel Sosi recalls transmitting orders under fire, guiding a company through deadly terrain. Each successful maneuver is more than strategy, it is survival. Each successful strike is a direct consequence of a language that flows like a river through the battlefield. The Japanese are forced to retreat, unable to anticipate American movements. Intelligence failures compound morale issues. The unbreakable code has not only saved lives, but accelerated the U.S. offensive across the Pacific. Guadalcanal, once a grinding battle, becomes a turning point in the war. Its success owed in no small part to a small group of young Navajo men who spoke in the voice of their ancestors. Private Leonard Bege watches as Japanese forces withdraw, realizing the invisible shield they carried had changed the war. "We weren't just talking, we were fighting with every word," he says. Beyond the island, the impact resonates. The Navajo Code Talkers continue to serve across Pacific campaigns. Their unbreakable language, saving countless lives, and maintaining the operational secrecy essential to victory. Guadalcanal is the first proof of a concept that would become legendary, a cultural and military miracle intertwined. Corporal Chester Nez and his fellow Code Talkers do not seek recognition, understand the stakes. Every message transmitted, every life saved. Every operation coordinated as part of a larger mission, winning the war while protecting those who fight and those who cannot. As night falls over Guadalcanal, the jungle quiets, but the echoes of their voices linger, carrying orders, shaping strategy, and preserving life. The unbreakable code will become a symbol of ingenuity, bravery, and the power of language in warfare. The Pacific War continues, but the legacy of the Navajo Code Talkers is set, a testament that culture, courage, and intellect can triumph even in the chaos of battle, leaving an indelible mark on history.